Morning, West in the world, and welcome to your review video for Tuesday, November the 4th. Following this morning's lecture, the second part in our series on ideologies of change in the 19th century. Last week, when we introduced this theme, we dealt with two major concepts: Darwin, or Darwinianism, and Romanticism. This week, our lecture centered in on the one sort of ideology, the one major idea that most contributes to the transformation, not just of the Western world, but of the world at large in the 19th century. That, of course, is nationalism. We've talked about nationalism virtually every day in class for the last 3 weeks or so, since we concluded our lectures on the French Revolution. But today we gave it special emphasis because what we began to understand is that at the end of the 19th century, nationalism takes on some new connotations. That what emerged in the era of the French Revolution, the lifetime of Daniel Mendoza, as an idea about unity amongst peoples who share certain kinds of language traditions or customary traditions, becomes much more about competition and rivalry. We entered into that by the story of British and French interventions in Africa in the 19th century, and so we ranged widely across the African continent, talking about events in places like Kenya, Congo, Senegal, and especially Sudan and Egypt in that sort of northeastern quadrant. And you want to make sure that you do understand sort of some of the major movements, some of the major strategic concerns. But the overarching theme is, of course, the idea that these maneuvers are expressions of nationalist rivalry. As Britain and France and newly emerging states like Germany and Italy are stepping onto the stage at the end of the 19th century, they are competing with one another for the economic resources to develop their own industrialized economies. They are competing for control of territory as a means of gaining access to those very same resources. And of course, they are competing to demonstrate their sort of military greatness, their strength on the field of battle. And in all of these different ways, we see Europe projecting power in some pretty unprecedented ways into the world at large. And that is where we will enter into the picture on Thursday, is with the age of imperialism and what it is that motivates a sudden and totally unprecedented expansion of European involvement in overseas empire building at the end of the 19th century. Looking forward to talking more with you about that on Thursday morning. I'll see you then.